Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the semifinals of the fourth really big tournament right here on Hard Rain Downpour. I almost said Hard Ring Downpour because I've had the word ping stuck in my head for the past 30 minutes. I am Rails Barlow, one of your two casters for this afternoon's match, and your head tournament administrator. Man, what an interesting past week this tournament has had for it. I'll say that much. So for those who don't know, this semifinals game in front of us is indeed a semifinals match between teams Lost in the Sauce and Team Disabled. The other side of the bracket, so this is from one side of the bracket, the other side of the bracket is currently on a delay due to the fact that a quarterfinals match will need to be replayed after the ban of a player from Team Sorry for his history of hacking in competitive environments. It has been a juicy week, but the winner of this game in front of us goes on to the grand finals of RBT4. We are one game on a neutral server between these two teams, and I am joined this afternoon on Vanilla Stream by the one and only Mr. Hollywood. Hollywood, what an interesting Left 4 Dead 2 game we have in front of us.
Yeah, it's been a wild ride so far, and this game is sure to be interesting.
Yeah, and for those that don't know from the names here that you can see, Team Disabled is on the special infected side, but they had a little bit of difficulty understanding how they're saying low ping versus high ping, even though the pings are even. They were expecting that there was going to be a two-game series here, which was moderated by the admin team to being not necessary due to the fact that three members of Team Lost in the Sauce are pinging the exact same, if not worse, than Team Disabled is right now. And obviously, it's a little bit of a interesting situation for Team Lost in the Sauce because they have three players from the EU and one player from the eastern side of North America, but one player having that ping advantage doesn't really mean much of anything in terms of when you're looking at team balance. If they were to have done a home and away server, it would have been a similar discrepancy. So due to the fact that teams couldn't agree on a two-game or one-game series, the admin stepped in, made the decision that they did, and now some teams are happy about that, some are not, but I am expecting to see this right up rather soon. So it's going to be a heck of a match as well. The number one team Disabled, hailing from China, and Team Lost in the Sauce being that EU and North America mix, as I mentioned before.
And should we do a rundown of the players on each team?
We will be able to, yeah, in a second. We are just waiting to see exactly. I think Team Disabled are starting to realize that this is going to be how the match is. You know, from the admin decision, this is how it's going to go. We're not going to get this two-game series when both the teams have this even of ping. The player with actually the worst ping in the server is Josie from Team Lost in the Sauce. Huh.
That's interesting. But, I mean, he is a veteran, so I'm sure he's used to it.
Yeah. Do you want ready? Indeed I want. Indeed I would like ready. Open hacks now. High ping 1v8. Okay. I love it. But Team Disabled are on very, very thin ice right now, just due to the fact that, again, admin decisions are admin decisions.
If I recall correctly, I think one of the players has already been gagged just before we went live.
Yeah, that's why he's changing his name as much as he is. The thing about it is that Team Disabled's strategy so far has been essentially reliant on the fact that they've had teams play one game in China and one game in wherever the other team is from, right? And in a situation like this, obviously a two-game series is different than a one-game series, but this is definitely the point where we need the teams to follow admin discretion, essentially. And at this point, if the Team Disabled doesn't ready up, they are gonna get forfeited in about like 15 minutes, I think. Because this is insane. Like, that there was literally a decision made on it, right, and that kind of stuff. And obviously, disagreement's disagreement, but at the end of the day, you gotta follow what the admins tell you to do. But, you know,
the many joys of competitive play.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, we've seen all the joys of competitive play. I'm pretty sure happen within the last like 8 days, just based on multiple things with Left 4 Dead. I mean, to be in the situation that we are now, you know, with the asymmetrical bracket, obviously is not ideal. But that kind of needed to happen because when you have questions around match integrity that are raised, right, whether it be from certain players being there or it be from servers or being from multiple things that cast a match result into doubt. Taking the time to make sure that it's done right is important. And we're seeing the Chinese team say, China #1 coming out in infected chat, indeed. So, and actually, yes, and I have heard that there is somewhat of a community bingo going on when it comes to these games, where if something happens, you score a point, and I think we've already hit like 5 of them without readying up. We've had ping complaints, we've had loss complaints, we've had Rails talks for 1 minute without taking a breath. So, I mean,
is there a space for someone pausing at the worst possible moment? That's got to be the free space, right?
Yeah, that I'm pretty sure.
I mean,
is
that's bound to happen.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, and there are a couple other things with Hard Rain Downpour that make it so interesting as a custom campaign. But it's a custom campaign only in the sense that it's not like a vanilla map. It's been played for the past 5 years, so I'd say it's closer to a map that people, at least if you played comp long enough, that you know, than rather one you don't know, right? Because like when you play a new custom, it's different. But this one's been around. This one's been around since Xeon made it back in 2014. So, and we also saw Dark Carnival Remix made in this tournament for the first time. And it was interesting to see that map as well, since obviously Xeon and NF are two competitive community members from the same teams usually, who put in a lot of good work onto these maps and how they survive in the competitive environment. Downpour itself has been used for the semifinals before, so this is really nothing new when it comes to that. I'm not exactly 100% sure how much team preparation went in though to have that kind of refresher course. So hopefully both teams are aware of what exactly is going to be happening in terms of how the map is different from regular Hard Rain, etc., etc. And obviously, it doesn't help the fact that Sir from Team Lost in the Sauce is tagged up as his Chinese version of his name because, you know, why not? You know?
Of course. Gotta show some cultural sensitivity.
Exactly. That we are all about complete. That's been another topic in this. This tournament really has had it all for those who have been following since the beginning. I'm telling you, right? Just lessons on cultural sensitivity, lessons on hacking, and lessons on how the hell do you communicate across multiple cultures to say, please ready the fuck up. That is really the question. But I do believe things are getting back under control now. We only have 2 more players who are team disabled to ready up, and like I said, the pings are fairly even from what I can. Everyone in the red except for Dr. Sheep, aka Perp, who is playing from the east coast of the United States. But everybody from Team Disabled running around like 176 to 195, whereas Josie's bouncing to like 210. Thug and Sir both have like between 150 and 180. So, wait, wrong chat. Did you type ready up into Steam? Confused. But yeah, Team Disabled, they definitely have done a great job in this tournament of earning that #1 seed. They defeated Team Mansad Bad last week in the quarterfinals on Swamp Fever in a 2-game series. And they played some really, really, really nice Special Infected in that game, I will say. Meanwhile, Team Lost in the Sauce, same series on Swamp Fever, defeated Hibbs' team in a thrilling finish, actually. It was like a 300-point game from what I remember. So we've had some really, really nice playoff matches so far. Quarterfinals as well. IBP versus G2, entertaining game, and we still have to see exactly what happens in the Sorry 4 versus Keyboard Warriors rematch. But the first game that was played that has to be redone had some issues in terms of the players, plus the South American server being a little bit inconsistent in the sense that you could shoot somewhere and somehow hit your teammate, which is obviously not something you want anywhere, but definitely not in the quarterfinals. So that will definitely resolve itself well, and I'm excited for this game here today as well. With the balance that we have in front of us like this, I think it's going to be a heck of a one game performance coming out here. And obviously, it's at this point they either disabled or lost in the sauce. Obviously, it's not the 2-game series, but it's got to be whoever plays the best in this one single game here. Throw all the other extraneous shit out the window. It's the semifinals, you know?
Absolutely. So, out of curiosity, you've seen obviously the majority of the matches. Hold on, we are getting right into it. We've got Team Lost in the Sauce on Survivor side, Team Disabled on the Infected side. Looks like we're going to get a Jockey, Smoker, Charger, Spitter for this first hit, and we're going to see where Lost in the Sauce chooses to take this first hit. I like to go straight to the right and just ignore this burger tank building entirely, but looks like they're trying to take the roof. That's pretty dangerous given that there is a Charger right here.
Indeed, and we do have a smoker pull going out. Charger is going to whiff, however. Jockey does get shut down. My game is lagging a little, so my mic might be as well, but that's an okay amount of damage from that first.
Yeah, Thug Life did get a little bit more damage than he maybe deserved. That Charger was pretty greedy, but it wouldn't have been a death charge regardless, because he did smack like straight into a rail as soon as he got off that building. But yeah, I'm not really sure why the survivors felt the need to take that roof first. Regardless, they're going to push on through here. They've got their weapons, 3 shotguns and an Uzi. Definitely seeing a lot more players running that Uzi. We got a bee-hopping Boomer jumping in there, really ambitious, but did not work. It gets M2'd and shut down. Looks like the rest of the hit is a Spitter, Jockey, Smoker. They're going to try and set up on this roof, perhaps still try and hit them as they are crossing. We're going to see if they choose to go for it. The Smoker's going to go for a pull from the back. It does get coached, but gets cleared immediately. Very nice.
He almost had that, and that spit was down on that jockey in that corner too. That would have been a lot worse had that spit been able to reach the wall instead of just hitting the forward part of the survivors there. But instead, we're going to see Fantasy despawn that smoker. Our tank is at 55%. We have no war rooms here, so we are going to be keeping it right here in the caster war room for the entirety of this. And the first tank of this semifinals match for RBT4 is up in the hands of Fantasy 14 disabled. And this is going to be big because with a one-game series like this, obviously, it's just like wipes are massive. You really don't have another server to be able to make up whatever you screw up, if you know what I mean. And that's a beautiful double boom going in as well. Charger's gonna go in, landing that charge onto one of the survivors. Car going in, landing almost killing Sir right there. But this tank is still in. They're still trying to go back right here. And I don't know if he's going to try to cut them off now or not. He has his hatchback in front of him. Car is going to be going in. It's going to skip. And it's going to hit Perp on the top of that truck. I saw that coming in. Rock is going to go in. Going to land onto Josie as well. This tank is in. He gets a double car. Oh my god. Fantasy saying, screw your home and away. Screw your red ping. I am dumpstering and bullshit Hondaing the fuck out of Team Lost in the Sauce for an absolutely incredible first map wipe. Hollywood, that was insane.
That what you were saying it just, you know, in the sort of pre-game introductions, and we just saw it. Case and points. Disabled's infected team like coordination is just ridiculous. I mean, we saw it with that 3-hit when they were trying to cross the RV. They almost got, you know, that spit jockey and smoke in the back. And this tank just, oh my, those hitables were just unreal. I cannot believe. Did Sheep get hit twice? Did they pick him up and then he got card again? Oh my lord.
Yep. Yeah, he got nailed. He got nailed on the top of that pickup truck, and then after that, I mean, I think Josie tried to pick him up, but ate a rock in the process, and the tank came in with another double car. And I mean, to be fair, the tank almost landed the first car when the survivors were transitioning back like that. I mean, that was just the survivors. Just they were trying to clear that boom, trying so hard to get back, and they just weren't cognizant, I should say, of where the tank was going to be launching his cars. That's an incredible way to start off this match, because if they make safe room on this map 1 of Downpour is worth so much.
Exactly. I mean, wiping this early on regular hard rain is bad enough. It just sets such a bad, like, you know, taste in the mouth for you for the rest of the match. But in hard rain, like, the pressure is on now because, I mean, Disabled can very well make this map. They're aware that there's a charger there, so I hope that they're not going to, you know, bother with this rooftop. You don't want to get some stupid death charge right here after an incredible tank like that. We're going to see where they choose to take this first hit. Looks like they're debating maybe Rochelle's going to go inside. She's clearing a few commons in there. Yeah, I think. Yep,
they're going inside, for it. 100%. Inside. Yeah, they are inside, clearing out the rest of that common. Charger's going to be looking for a rocket through the skylight. Actually spawning up, coming from the window instead. Positionings are in here. Charger jumps up, manages to land a double charge. It was a jockey in the spit. That is a huge amount of damage going on. And Team Disabled, and it's still going on because that jockey isn't cleared. They just got melted by that hit.
My god, Fantasy actually got saved from a ton of spit damage. He got multi-charged, but just barely landed outside of the spit. That would have been, I think, both of them in the yellow.
We were talking...
Yeah, only Rochelle.
We were talking in the pregame caster chat about how we thought this match was going to be gritty, and that is exactly. You have an insane wipe happen on the first half, and then a 200 damage hit on the first hit against Team Disabled on the Survivor side. I mean, they were positioned really, really close there. Like, that Charger was able to run and jump up on the table. Charger's going in, whiffing Ellis and Nick right there, however. Smoker Pole does go out. Charger gets a punch. 3-boom goes in, and this might be enough for Fantasy playing coach in the front there to trigger this tank before that next hit is up. There are a lot of commons still coming in, though, so with playing with 190 ping in a one game, you really, really got to be careful about Horde.
Absolutely. Fantasy's inching his way forward, but doesn't seem quite committed to spawning this tank. Yeah, it looks like they're all going to go out together. I mean, of course, Disabled just did it. They've got to be aware that these cars are dangerous. Some good helicopters can catch you at, like, the worst possible times, even when you think you're safe, because these buildings and those pickup trucks forward do not block those cars for you. You got a Boomer going for a last-second boom, but gets popped immediately. Spit goes down onto nothing. We still got a Hunter and a Jockey waiting in the wings, but I think they're going to wait for this tank to get into position. He's going to try some sort of long rock, but it lands right into the house. And Team Disabled is already, it looks like they're taking it in the playground. This is very interesting.
They are going to take it in the playground, I think.
They're not even taking any risks with these cars. That's definitely the smart thing to do. I 100% agree with that call. We're going to see what Team Captain Perp, aka Sheep, can do with this. I mean, obviously, again, the pressure is on. He needs to wipe them here because every step they take beyond this point is just, you know, like more lead that they're going to have to make up at some point later on in this match.
Exactly, and I think Sheep is going to have to balls deep commit this with how many hittables that he decides to get. I mean, he's going for the hatchback over there too. The survivors, I think, are probably aware of what he's doing with those cars. Speaking of which, that car is going to come in and is not going to catch Nick, but now it's right in the middle. They're going to pill up, and they're just going to kite him all the way around here. He's second pass at 65, and he's going for this other hittable. He's going to be pretty low on frustration by the time he gets in. Rochelle going for chip here as well. Tank's going to have a lot of cards to play with and a lot of area for the survivors to kite. They have rocket spawns to deal with too. It's a jockey, charger, and a hunter. He's not going to be able to do much with that car. He has the corner onto Rochelle. This jockey is in a little bit early though and is now going to die. He's still getting the corner onto Rochelle, but he only has 1500 health left. Pushing Coach out. Hunter going in, managing to land. Charger is going to whiff, however, and the tank is not able to capitalize on that either. Nick going ham here. Hittable is going to go in, is going to land onto Ellis right there, but he's not going to be able to get the kill, so that's 2 downs going out from Dr. Sheet's tank, but no death onto any survivor and no wipe of Team Disabled here on map 1.
That's exactly what Disabled needed. Hats off to Nick for, clearing that Hunter off his teammate and not walking into the tank. He almost got a punch on him, but he was aware enough to, axe that Hunter and get it out of the way. Really good awareness by Nick here on Team Disabled. And now it's time to hold that W button. Just get as much lead as you damn well can. We got the next stage going in. Jockey and Charger. The Charger does land. The Smoker lands onto Rochelle, but she cuts the tongue. Really nicely done.
That's a great play by Rochelle there. Just being able to cut that tongue twice. And the Smoker is still up now. Is going to die a little bit out of order, so now Team Disabled are going to hold W, but Rochelle was able to cut that tongue once, also M2 and kill the jockey, and then cut the tongue again, and obviously the Charger went in and got the in-cap spit miss, so overall that could have been a much more damaging hit had they been able to get that kind of separation cap onto Rochelle, but they were unable to do so, and now Disabled still holding that infamous W button as they push forward here. The thing about this map is it is longer than the original Hard Rain map 1 by a decent amount. You have to take a good amount of hits here that you wouldn't normally have to. That's a long boom going out onto Rochelle, who is also a little bit split on the side over there. They want to kill this boomer without triggering the rest of the horde, which I think if they get back far enough, they should be able to do. That Hunter gets blown out of the sky right there. Other Hunter getting Uzi skeeted by Nick, and that's going to be a death going out onto 30 loss over there, aka Ellis. The survivors got really, really split when the rest of that hit came in, and now they're going to be downing and picking Rochelle back up as that boomer doesn't trigger the rest of the alarm card, but that's one survivor dead, another survivor black and white, Holly.
That was, a really nice sort of game of cat and mouse with that boomer, really wasting a lot of the survivors' time, but they've still got, a somewhat decent amount of health bonus. Well, I suppose at 3 survivors, it's not super likely that they may make the safe room. The thing about Hard Rain is that, as you mentioned, it is longer. There are some shortcuts in here, but the thing is, there are risks to all these shortcuts. Like, if you want to take the quick way through this house, you go up the stairs and out the hole in the wall, but that's a lot more dangerous than maybe climbing, out and around. So we're going to see what the survivors choose to go for. Yeah, looks like they're taking the stairs. The Charger goes in, lands right into Rochelle's face, gets insta-cleared. Coach gets pulled outside, and Nick manages to clear that, but now this Hunter is still jumping around trying to get something, but looks like he's going to go on and get out of there. Rochelle is now dead. It's all down to Nick and Fantasy over here. They're going to try and get on through. This Hunter's jumping around. Looks like he's going to try and get a despawn now.
Yeah, I mean, with 2 survivors left like this, they're going to be just trying to get as many distance points as they can. There should be a multi-cap coming up. Indeed, it's going to be a Boomer, Hunter, Jockey, and a Spitter. So it is a 2-2. Not 100% wipe guarantee against 2 survivors at this level, I would say. Boomer goes in, manages to land on to Coach right there, and that is going to be a Hunter landing as well. But Nick gets the M2 on the Jockey and does shut it down. That would be a full in-cap out onto Fantasy, but it looks as though Nick is going to be able to M2 that Spitter off as well, but now he's actually jumping in the spit near the railing. All of the SI are down, but Nick is going to have to decide, yeah, he's actually going to decide to leave Coach right there, trying to eke out these distance points, I believe, as he pushes through the bottom of this house. That's going to be about a less than 200 point advantage for Team Disabled, but this is not quite over as the Smoker spawns now. Now it is. So 398 to 225 after map 1 of Hard Rain Downpour. Very intense first round, but Disabled have to be happy about that in a game like this.
Absolutely. And as I mentioned before, it's not even so much the score differential. It certainly could have been worse, but luckily they were able to pick off the survivors and wipe them later on in the map. But it's just sort of like a mindset thing. Because when you get wiped like that with these 2 incredible helicoptering cars, it just puts you in a really bad headspace to go into the rest of the match.
Yeah, they're going to have to rebound quickly from that if your team lost in the sauce. Mentioning again, the loss in the sauce is the 4th seed in RBT4 here, and Disabled is your #1 seed playing this best of 1 game. And our tank is going to be at 28%, as a matter of fact, for this second map. And Josie and him are on the wrong teams. Okay, there we go. We reset it. We reset it because we have multiple people with server admin on this server. But yeah, I mean, now, the question is, since they have the lead, obviously Team Disabled strength, I think, has been their special infected play, and I think that's how they've been able to do well in 2-game series as well, because even though you're playing with ping, if you can have that same kind of special infected coordination, that's something that ping definitely hampers, but cannot completely get rid of. You know what I mean? Where it's like if you have that team cohesion, you can survive situations like that. And the fact that they're playing with all red ping now, as you saw, that their tank play was still as strong as it needs to be in terms of this situation. And now, I mean, if they can just have their survivor do enough and then play that same level of special infected play, we could see them in the grand finals. We are going to see what Sir is able to do on the special infected side, though. He will have this tank at 28%. First hit, 14, lost in the sauce is a Spitter, Hunter, and a Jockey. Take it away, Holly.
All right, looks like Nick is already poking his head out the front. Coach is covering this side window. I think they're all going to choose to go out to the front, given where the team needs to go. Yep, they're going for it, just clearing a few common. Looks like the special infected are choosing to hit them inside the building, it seems. We've already got both hunters pre-spawn inside there. Neither of them are making noise. They're just standing. Looks like they're going to go for maybe some sneaky wall kicks once the survivors get out and around these big silo things. I don't know what these are called. Yeah, Nick's going to move on through there. A lot of patience coming out from Team Lost in the Sauce. I would have hit a bit earlier than this. We got the wall kicks. One lands onto Nick. It's insta-cleared. Another lands onto Rochelle. And a Chalky in the back. That's in spit. Rochelle's going to take a ton of damage for that. My God. These infected hits are so devastating.
Yeah, and like I said, I think we're going to be seeing a great amount of special infected play, because it's just so much harder to kill things when you have, like, not only when the SI have red ping, but when you have red ping like this, where everyone's playing between 170 and 200, essentially. It's just much harder for the team to be able to recover. And now, at this point, we're going to have that tank in the hands of Sir up. Charger not going to be able to land here. Smoker and a Hunter for the rest of this hit. And let's see what Sir decides to do with this tank. He's going to have to do some work here, especially, like we said, with the way these Survivor teams have been playing.
One thing to note is that, Hard Rain definitely is a much more difficult map for survivors. It definitely allows for a lot, more dangerous hits and a lot more difficult tank fights, as we just saw. You don't normally see hits like that going out on regular Hard Rain.
Yeah, Sir's in the bottom of this building, and I don't think that's where he wants to be. I think he's gonna have to commit this from either that or he's gonna try to play rock. No, he's looking for something early here. He's on the floor, throwing a rock, going to get the Rage Rock right there, and then he's gonna climb up. Smoker goes out as well, and you just hear these Uzis just chirping like an entire swarm of cicadas in the summer. That is completely, that is really interesting. See, he trades 1,000, or almost 1,000 health, right, and 830 for 1 Rage Rock. He has better position now, but I wonder if there was a way he could have done that without taking that much damage.
Yeah, I'm looking around this building. I'm not too familiar with this map. Doesn't seem to be any infected letters on that side where he was standing. I think Sir may have gotten a bit lost. Anyways, we got the next hit going in. Jockey and Charger both whiff. We do get a 2-boom. Sir's going to look for another rock maybe on the coach and see if he's aware enough to avoid it.
He goes,
does manage to avoid it.
No, he doesn't go. He doesn't go. He decided to back up. I thought he was gonna. I thought he was just gonna dive in there for a second. That rock was so close to catching Ellis on the side, but nothing doing. He's gonna try to bleed out Rochelle, I think, as long as he possibly can, but he is about to go second pass. Obviously, the survivors don't know that. They're trying to do their best LOSing, and he is indeed on second now. So I don't know if he wants a boomer, exactly what he's looking for, but he's also getting shot as this continues to happen here while he's on the roof. And Sir is going to be committing this tank with a Charger, a Hunter, and a Smoker for his support. He's going to be pushing in, trying to knock the survivors off the side. Survivors transitioning out, though. He's definitely going to be able to punch at least one of them. There you go. You have the Charger whiffing right there. Hunter is not going to land either. The Smoker landed for a split second. Tank is on to Rochelle right there, but not Fantasy, 30 Lost is going to get hit away, and Sir is going to be left out right there, and that is going to be the end of Sir's tank for Team Lost in the Sauce. What do you think of that, Holly?
That was a bit of a tough break for Sir. As you mentioned, he just barely missed the hitbox onto Ellis, and then as soon as he got that first punch onto Fantasy, he bounced off of that little mud pile or whatever and way out of range. Sir was forced to switch targets, and after that it was sort of all over. So I think the support in that situation could have gone in a little earlier, but I think it's just a bad place to commit. There wasn't a whole lot for him to do there.
Yeah, I mean, his commit route, he decided to originally start on the ground there, and then he took that chip when he climbed up, right? And then when he came in like that, he was trying to get the 2 survivors off the top, which he did. And it got some damage, but definitely not anything near a wipe, which is hard to do in that area anyway. We have that single boom going out. Jockey tried to go in. Hunter spawned in the back. Most of the common are going to be funneling onto Ellis right there, and they're going to stack damage on him, but the Jockey does get cleared. Pound Spit goes down onto Nick, and he is the survivor who does have the largest amount of permanent health left. Well, actually, now it's Coach. But again, disabled since they survived that tank the way they did. And I actually think in a game like this, you know, when you have everybody with high ping and you have areas like that, I think boomers are actually better for tank fights here.
Absolutely. You know, that ping really makes boomers a lot easier to land. We've already seen some pretty ridiculous, like, long-distance booms coming out from on the sides. And speaking of which, we've got another opportunity here. Boomer, Jockey, Smoker, Hunter here. Looks like the Boomer's going to try to spawn from above. Hunter is already pre-spawned. Smoker in the back. They're going for it. Let's see where this Boomer decides to go from. Smoker gets to pull out to Nick. He's separated, but no, they get the clear, and the single boom goes out onto Ellis.
And this is some great survivor speed from Team Disabled right here, really proving it on this neutral server so far, because those pins would have had to land like at the exact same time for that to do damage. Like, you saw the clear go out on the Hunter. That Smoker was so low when it landed in the back there, and then the Jockey got M2'd and shut down. And I mean, at this point, they are going to be reaching the event, I think, with 2 sets of pills pretty much still left on them. Obviously, Rochelle is the one who's bleeding out the most at this point, and obviously Ellis too. But if they can survive this choke here, where they have to climb this ladder / part of the staircase and then just not die at the event, they could actually make safe from this.
Absolutely. Team Disabled is moving really fast. Nice insta-clear on that Hunter, although the Charger does land onto Rochelle. In Spit, she does take a scratch for that as well. You know, they're really targeting her, but they do still have 2 pills left for Thorilla. Speaking of which, a Smoker gets pulled onto Nick, but gets stuck on the stairs and cleared. And so he's going to go ahead and jump down there and look for a despawn.
And that was a great play by Nick as well, just to hide behind that set of the staircase. And I do believe they're going to start the event now, but a Jockey is up and is going in onto Nick, who was able to get that M2. It does get cleared before any kind of ledge hang. Double boom, Coach almost runs off the ledge there. But now I do believe they are going to get that event started, and they're going to have to take... They're going to have to take, I think, 2 hits here. It's different, though, because on Downpour, for those that aren't aware, it is not an elevator, it's a staircase. So they could go at whatever time they decide to instead of sitting here bleeding out. We are going to see that Spitter sack itself, get a little bit of tick damage onto Nick, but it's going to be interesting to see what Team Lost in the Sauce want to call on Special Infected here, because they know the survivors can move at any time.
Yeah, it's kind of a difficult situation. They've got a Charger, and you would normally want to save that for the stairs. Maybe you can get some sort of incredible multi-charge. But again, if the survivors just choose to sit there, they can, you know, really run out the clock. And we already know that Lost in the Sauce is definitely not feeling themselves at this particular moment, given that they're, you know, already behind. And, like, I think if I were Team Disabled, I would definitely want to push it. I would definitely want to make them a little bit impatient. So I do like the way, yeah, they're just kind of hanging out. There's no rush here.
Yeah, and I think this is a good idea by Team Disabled, because they obviously don't know it, but they can suspect that Team Lost in the Sauce has this quad. And with the way they're going right now, they're giving a lot of rocket spawns and a lot of space above them to the SI team, which is definitely not ideal. They have to take part of this field, but at the same point in time, they can also go through that building to the left-hand side to take a hit if they so choose and avoid those rocket spawns. And I do believe they're pushing somewhat in that direction because they can just duck in that way. But it looks as though we're going to be seeing 4 rocket spawns onto them from the back from this Smoker, Charger, Hunter, and Jockey hit. The Hunter is pre-spawned actually on the right-hand side. Jockey spawns up on the left as well. They're waiting for the survivors to get further into the field. They hear the Smoker at this point, and I do believe Rochelle kind of wants to go back and push that if she can. Looking for it, not able to hit him though, and they're still bleeding this entire time. And now if you look at this from a sky view, they are very, very split. There's the Jockey, but the Jockey and the Smoker go for the same survivor. Rochelle's going to be able to clear that. That's going to be the charge landing for a second as well, but that is unfortunate because that is going to mean we're going to get an in-cap and the Jockey's going to bounce around getting some more M2s, but Holly, that was, the quad attempt itself was failed before it even got in.
Yeah, that's a really unfortunate miscommunication between that Smoker and Jockey. I mean, you know, in the spur of the moment thing where it's one of those really quick calls, like, okay, go now, you know, that's sort of understandable. But in that situation, that survivor was all on their own, and the Smoker saw that Jockey. He was like right next to him. So I think that was something that could have been easily avoided. Regardless, we're going to have the Smoker, Charger, and Boomer trying to get some last second stuff. Once again, piling onto Rochelle, another spit charge, and the Spitter going to try and get a scratch in there, although she does manage to jump onto the table, but it does not save her from the death spit because the Spitter died up there as well.
Exactly, yeah, and I mean, at this point, taking that down there is important, because now that Team Disabled is going to be reaching the safe room, that definitely puts a marker for Team Lost in the Sauce to try to match, and they're going to bring their 2-map total to 1,218 points with a nice second round there, 820 from map 2. And I mean, okay, at this point, you look at it and you say, okay, it's 1,000 points. Team Lost in the Sauce haven't even played their Survivor half of map 2 yet. But again, I want to stress that in one-game situations like this, especially in the semifinals, and when everyone has between, like, I don't know, 150 and 200 ping aside from Sheep, we saw in the first map that, again, things like hittables and that kind of stuff can transcend ping. So they got to be real careful on Survivor side now. If they get wiped at this tank, that's catastrophic in my opinion.
Absolutely. And if I were Team Disabled, I would definitely want to just sort of run out the clock. When you've got that lead, there's no reason to sort of like let Team Lost in the Sauce take any unnecessary leads when they, you know, can't afford it. If I were this tank, I would definitely want to play Rock Tank like as long as possible. Because, you know, even if they're not bleeding out, you're wasting their time. You're giving your teammates more hits, more opportunities for big booms that can lead to, you know, some really dumb, you know, coordination between the survivors, some big separation and stuff like that. You know, when you've got the advantage and on high ping and on a, you know, add-on server, I mean, add-on map campaign or whatever, you want to, you know, the more time you can waste is more opportunities for your teammates to make something big happen.
Yeah, and honestly, this scenario in front of us reminds me of the semifinals. I forget exactly what tournament it was from, but it was a semis game where it was Team Agavon versus Team, I think it was Alex Lowbrow or something like that, but I know it was Josie, Thug, Locke, and there was a fourth who they're used to playing with as well, who I can't remember right now, against a team from Asia, right? And the scenario was, it was a one-game Dallas server where everyone had like 180 ping around the same kind of environment. I bring that up because having Thug Life in this game for Team Lost in the Sauce is something that we haven't seen. This is actually Thug Life's first game in RBT4 that he's played. He was originally signed up on Hibbs' team, but then he was added / kind of traded to Team Lost in the Sauce prior to the quarterfinals. And he's going to have to play real well in this game, as is the rest of Team Lost in the Sauce, to really make this happen. And that's a good start, sir. Taking out that wall-kicking Hunter who was not able to land, and the Spitter gets picked now as well. This other Hunter's going to go in for some scratches, managing to get a couple, and the Jockey's going to die last, coming in from the back, going for Coach, who is separating the back. Thug trying to get this M2, but that Jockey is now going to die, and we're going to see the pace now from Lost in the Sauce pick up to get that tank.
Yeah, interesting hit there from Disabled. It's certainly nothing like their map 1 hits, but they do have another opportunity here. Maybe one more hit before this tank goes in. Charge is going in for some punches. It gets 2 onto Nick and whisks the charge. Spit goes down onto nothing. We've got a Hunter going in.
Oh, but that's spit damage!
Coach.
She's taking so much damage from that spit. He's down to about 50 HP. I think the spit was spreading when he was in that corner. And now this Hunter's going to get chip damage as well. That went from a nice shutdown of that first hit to a nice amount of damage for a team.
Yeah, absolutely. And now Sheep is in, you know, that sort of danger zone where like a little bit of damage on him will probably put him into the yellow. And that's, you know, that sort of difficult range of HP where you're like, do I take my pills down? Do I wait until the tank commits, you know? Because if you don't take them, you're risking getting in cap before the tank even comes in. Regardless, we got the next hit going in. Smoker pulls Rochelle and into a charge. Nice coordination there. Is the tank going to commit off of that? No, I don't think so. Yeah, he does take a bunch of chip climbing up there. It's going to go for some sort of rock. Doesn't match line, and Rochelle's going to have enough time to get out of there and under this rooftop here.
Exactly, yeah, so a similar situation in terms of the team setups that we see from the last half of this chapter, where the survivors are going to be hanging out in that garage area trying to get that LS. The tank actually jumps off and gives them 200 chip for a reason unknown to me, but he is going to have his first pass kept with about 5,000 HP, and the tank is actually going to be rotating to the right to throw a rock. Boomer's going to spawn up and lands. Jockey going on that as well. Charter manages to land on Josie in the corner there with a rock coming underneath. Skeet does go out, however, by Dr. Sheep. Nice play to skeet that rock, and that is something I think that does help having a player even in the orange rather than the red with those rock skeets and with killing that common. Interesting decision by this tank, though. I think the tank is pretty much deciding to play this as a rock tank. He's still on 40% first pass, and I mean, he could get some really good hits under there depending on his support. He's going to jump off to the side again, trying to draw the survivors' fire and get them to shoot him instead. So now he's going to jump off, do the same kind of thing. He's trying to open up spawns, I think, for his special infected friends. That Boomer wants to spawn near the wall as the Hunter drops in. Same boom is going to work, and there's a survivor now who dropped off that side. Rock going in is going to land on him.
I love the coordination from Team Disabled. You know, he's sacrificing a lot of HP, taking a ton of chip, but it's absolutely worth it because every time those survivors are trying to get some chip on them, they're, you know, opening up spawns right there. So like that boomer's got 2 spawns, and then when that one survivor got boomed, no one was covering him, and he was able to, you know, jump down there and get a nice rock right in there. This is exactly what I was saying. The more time you waste is just, you know, more opportunities for your teammates to, you know, open up some opportunities for you. Nice Hunter landing and a jockey as well, but the tank did not land a rock. So he is going to be, you know, losing a little bit of frustration, but I think he'll have time for at least one more rock before we see second pass going in.
Yeah, we see a hitbox rock attempt coming in here as well. It is going to get skeeted, but he's still on that 15% first pass. Now the survivors are going to move out and start playing a little bit more chip. To commit this tank now would be, I think, dangerous for Team Disabled, but the next hit is up again. He just keeps jumping off and climbing on this ladder. Boomer spawns up same spot for the 3rd time, and a rock going out on Perp. That's a full in cap onto Dr. Sheep. This tank has 3,500 HP left, and he has sight on the down survivor, I'm fairly sure. He'll be able to just keep sight on the survivors as they pick up Perp right there, but this is exactly what Team Disabled wants to do. That rock does get skeeted, but you gotta be real frustrated if your team lost in the sauce. And as a matter of fact, I think they're gonna try to take one more hit here, and then they might even want to just ditch this area. They've taken way too much damage.
Absolutely. I mean, they've already seen that play happen.
If this boomer gets a spawn from the same area again, I swear to you, I'm gonna lose it. Alright, Boomer's looking for it. Smoker pull. Boomer spawns up in a different area now, climbs the wall, and does get another boom. Rock going in is going to get skeeted, but now Team Lost in the Sauce are going to push him. There is one survivor behind with Horde, though, and the tank is going to transition on first pass out to the right-hand side over here. I don't know if he can actually intercept where he's going to be at, but he will at least be able to throw a rock here or something, and the tank indeed is in, diving in on the survivors right there, deciding to get out once again, throwing a rock, not going to, actually is going to land it onto Nick right there. His support's coming up. This is very dangerous for Team Lost in the Sauce. There's going to be the pull going out. The charge is going to miss the pull target, but the tank is still there. Pounce does go out. Another punch going out onto Sir. An amazing amount of damage from Team Disabled on that tank, Hollywood.
Oh my god, that was just beautiful to behold. That was like watching a chess match. Everything the tank did was calculated, and his team was right there. All the support was where it needed to be. 3 booms from basically the same spot. I mean,
yeah,
you know, you can take your hats off to the infected, but at the same time, like, survivors, you've got to be aware. They've already done that twice. Like, you've got to, like, at least block that spawn or just move. That was so much damage.
Spitter is going to get picked first. Boomer goes in, does get a double boom. Smoker pull goes out in the front. Smoker is going to die last, but at this point we do have 2 survivors in full bleed, 1 set of pills left. I mean, this is still salvageable, I'd say, for Team Lost in the Sauce, but they need to not take damage at choke points now, and that's asking a lot for this ping. I mean, it's doable, but they need to really be careful about when they run with hits up and when they are taking hits in certain areas. If they get like shard spat right now, they're going to be in a bad situation to make this entire map. It's going to be a charger coming in from the back, not quite going in yet. Hunter spawns up as well. Boomer spawns up as well. Gets a double boom right there, and the Hunter does get a pin. Charger coming in from a mile away. Spit goes out onto Thug Life. He is now slow, and this charger might even decide to save with this double.
He's going for it.
He's going in to die. All right, well, he'll die last, and that will be 1 survivor permanent slow in a minute. They should find another set of pills, however.
Well, it was a bit of a misplay by Disabled from what is otherwise some pretty stellar infected play, but, you know, you've just got to admire, like, the sort of confidence that these players have in each other, because even when one's, you know, infected spawns out of the position or just gets shut down immediately, the rest of the team still goes for it, like, 100%.
DP going in, not going to land. Boomer does get a boom off a smoker pull. Another double boom going out as Josie has been made slow now by that smoke. The SI is so unique. That's been a story of this tournament, I think we can say as well, where Team Disabled's playstyle has been unique, whether it's been a 2-game series, 1-game series, whatever it is you want to call it. And, I mean, they are capitalizing on everything that Team Lost in the Sauce is doing.
Absolutely, and now we've got a really dangerous hit. We've got a Jockey, Hunter, Charger, Spitter, the nightmare situation where Disabled gets some sort of like ridiculous death charge and just ruins everything for Lost in the Sauce. I think they can feel it. Rochelle is taking this real slow, and the Charger looks like he's going for a sneaky spawn behind one of these little concrete pillars.
Oh, 1 survivor down below. Coach is going to be pinned, and then the Jockey is going to land as well, but the Jockey is going to take that survivor all the way back down to the first floor. Charger going in for punches. 1, 2, 3 on Thug, 4 on Thug, and that's an in.
Catch these hands. Thug Life is in cap. They're going to get a spit, although it lands on the stairs. I don't think that's what they meant to do, but that is so much damage. I don't see Team Lost in the Sauce making this safe room It may be sad to say, but I just don't see how it's going to happen because they've got these stairs and then that big field, as we saw earlier with that almost quad. The Infected can kind of like cage in the survivors despite it being such an open area. They just can't see anything out there.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, the bonus is already lower. Spitter is going to pre-spit there. Charger going for a stumble, not going to land, but another punch going out onto Josie, and okay, everybody's slow. 2 survivors bleeding out. You've got 1 survivor with, what, 32 HP on Sir, right? And that's the highest perm that they've got, and at this point, they have to take this entirety of the Horde, but they really don't have the ability to dictate the pace. They're too slow.
Exactly. They don't have the luxury that Disable did with Nice Pop. That Disable did when they, took those stairs really patiently, because when you're that slow, you can't afford to like, okay, let's move up a little bit and then level up a little bit more, because you don't have the movement speed to dodge all of those important hits like chargers and, jockeys that may be trying to rocket spawn or spawn like right around the corner.
Exactly. I mean, that smoker did decide to get out right there, and now we do have a charger up for Fantasy. And the survivors have started to kind of move forward, but there are 2 in the back, so the infected team can read how they're moving based on the 2 in the back. Boomer's going to jump around Manjus. Land Charger's going to go in for punches, and there is an incap that goes out on to Dr. Sheep right there, and the spit is going to go around the corner too with a smoker pull out onto Coach. That's 2 incaps right there on the stairs, and that's 2 black and white survivors as well. Both Perp and Thug are going to be black and white on these pickups. Common going in, but again, they really can't rush forward as of yet, and there's going to be another hit for Team Disable by the time they get into that cane field.
Seems like every time one of us calls out, a vulnerability in the survivor's position, the infected are right there. Nice DP. We've also got a charger ready to spawn from behind this shed. Just going to see if he's going to go for it, maybe go for some punches. Yeah, 100%. Nope, he backs off.
Well, now he's going to troll because they've got Josie down. The other 2 survivors are bleeding out. Josie will not be black and white, but the 2 black and white survivors are indeed bleeding still. Charger is going to bide his time, jumping in, making them drop the pickup one more time right there. And now the smoker might decide to just play spawn roulette again and pull Sir, and indeed that is what he's going to do. So another spawn out right there. Now this Hunter, who obviously has the power of invisibility almost in that cane field, will go in, and there's a boomer landing too. So 1-by-1 special infected, but it works because they delay the pickup, and now they have even more Horde. They're just keeping the pressure on Lost in the Sauce in such an impressive way.
Absolutely. Thug Life is on his very last legs here. He is at 1 HP, black and white. Infected sneezing next to him will kill him. Speaking of which, there's a Hunter already sneaking up. Like you mentioned, the invincibility. Thug Life is dead. We now got a Charger on the other side looking to rocket spawn, and Smoker from the other side. Everything is just so methodical here.
2 deaths.
That's another death. Oh my gosh, it's over.
And Charger's going to land on Josie, and that is the wipe going out onto Team Lost in the Sauce from Team Disabled. Now they're up 12-18 to 794. So that is a lead of over 400 points going into map 3. Now that is much more dangerous than the first map's like 100-some points from that wipe. But I think the important thing is also that they've just played a better game so far, honestly. That's the way that it's going.
Absolutely. The Infected is just so coordinated. Every hit that goes in is taking full advantage of, the area that the Infected are in. The way, like, the Infected closed in on them from all sides in the cornfield versus the way that they, like, all dog piled on those 2 in the back when they were going down the stairs. It's just, Disable, like, knows exactly what to do in every area, it seems. Like, it's like they don't even, like, it's like they're being coached almost.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a great way. Their calling has been really, really on point, and now this late tank obviously helps them. There is really no retake of the coin, or of the cane field here, rather. It's like, because it's Downpour, you go through an office building and you jump off a... There have been some historical memes at this ladder choke coming up, but that's really the only thing, instead of it being a stairway. And I mean, as long as they make it a tank with decent health, maybe with everybody still fast at least, if not everybody's still green, they have a chance of surviving that and making map 3. And if they make this safe room, that puts a lot of pressure on to Team Lost in the Sauce at this point, solely because we've seen the discrepancies in Survivor play, just mistakes being made by Lost in the Sauce that you can't really afford at this level, like...
Absolutely. It's just, Disabled, it's clear that their Infected play is top-notch.
Yeah.
I think Lost in the Sauce, their best opportunity now is to hope for some sort of mistake on their Survivor play. Like, if you want to turn this game around, you've got to do it here with your Infected versus when you're trying to make this safe room when your Survivors, because I just don't see how it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, they need to take the momentum away from Team Disabled at this point. And it's going to be either Josie or Thug with this tank, I'm pretty sure, because we've seen Perp and Sir's tanks for map 1 and map. And, I mean, it's a 5-map campaign, obviously, but at the same point, this map 3 can be worth a lot. And if one team wipes and the other team makes it, that is an extremely dangerous possibility. Likewise, though, you know, if you're managed to get that wipe on Infected first and then play a good survive round, you can reverse the first 2 chapters. So can Lost in the Sauce actually make that happen is going to be the question.
Well, I think it's all going to be down to this tank, you know, barring some sort of, like you mentioned, some ridiculous meme at the stairwell or whatever, because, yeah, there are some pretty dumb things that can happen on this map in particular. And as you mentioned, there's no cornfield, but given that they have to go through some of these, you know, enclosed spaces and some of these things like pseudo chokes, the stairwell leading up to the building is pretty dangerous. They can still put together some pretty devastating hits if Disabled, you know, find themselves out of position or if they move a little bit too quickly. Because the way they've been holding W so far is impressive, but it is a little dangerous. You know, they're kind of riding that line between, you know, efficient and just plain reckless. So we're going to see.
Exactly, yeah. And so we are live with the third map here of the semifinals of RBT4 Disabled, your number 1 seed versus number 4 Lost in the Sauce. Josie's tank is going to be at 70% of the way through this map. We're going to be seeing Team Disabled work their way out of the safe room. Double Boom does go out, and that's probably going to cause Team Disabled to wait before going out and the rest there. However, actually, Nick is going to push his way out, and so is Coach. Those 2 survivors who are Boom do have the melee weapons, but that's a smoker. Getting a pull right there. That's going to be a beautiful double cap with that jockey, too. Charger, instead of going for an intercept, taking the pull target for a little bit of damage. If that Charger had been able to land a 3 cap there, Holly, that would have been insane.
Absolutely. He went for the guaranteed charge, but the opportunity was there if you just rocket spawn and then immediately turn around and charge that guy who was clearing the smoker. The opportunity was there, but regardless, it's still pretty good damage. That's, you know, exactly what Lost in the Sauce needs to go for. They do find, Disabled does find some extra pills. They're going to go ahead and push outside to this area. We've got a Boomer going for a nice distance boom. Lands onto Coach. The rest of the survivors are sticking together pretty well. We've got a
There's the tri-cap with a boom! God. That Charger lands in the front. The Smoker and the Hunter are both on in the back. It's going to be up to Fancy to clear literally everyone, but this is devastating now for Team Disabled, and that's what you talked about, Holly. That spacing that they have is on that line between efficient and reckless, and right there they got punished for their survivor.
That's a lesson in humility for Disabled. Maybe be a little bit more careful next time you can afford to move as fast as you've been moving through these last 2 maps, because this map is dangerous and Lost in the Sauce are definitely not letting any opportunities slip them by now.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, and now here's this ladder trick that we talked about. They really can't just okay, they are going to plus forward into it. Now this Charger is going to go in, managing to land on the Coach. They cannot do this, and they keep doing it. Hunter lands in the back. Jockey might be able to get the intercept, and indeed, they do! There's the Jockey off for a full in-cap onto Rochelle, and that's more common going. Holly, you heard me say it. You cannot just plus forward into choke points with 170 ping. You can't do it on a single game, because this is the result. They are literally, like, dead before this tank.
Oh my gosh, a lot of pressure taken off of Josie, and we, as you mentioned, where are they at right now? They're 40%, yeah, and there are some pretty stupid resets that you can get on this area in particular. This is basically like that death toll choke, because, yep, they're going for it. Boomer spawning from below, only gets a single boom. We also got a Hunter running in from the back, but he gets spotted. The Smoker's still looking for a pull. Maybe he can get Nick. No, he dodges it pretty well. Nicely done, Disabled. That is the kind of hits that you should be taking, because those last 2 were horrendous.
Now, honestly, it might be in their favor that one of them is slow, because they can't just all W into this now. They have to actually be careful and watch what's going on in the back kind. I'm telling you, dude, like, in terms of what they're going to do for this tank, I think they just actually hold W. Right now, they are so split, though. Like, this is insane. Like, Nick is all the way in the back. Obviously, there's no real way to capitalize on him, but now this is going to trigger a hit from Team Lost in the Sauce, so maybe that was a bait to a bait of some kind. That Charger tries to go for a punch charge, cannot land. Pound Spit goes out, quick clears, but 30 loss is going to almost lose 30 health on that because of how his team was split up. And now, like I said, they're holding W. There's no way they don't.
Absolutely, and honestly, why not? Because they're still making a ton of distance. And the tank missed! What?
Alright, well, Josie missed the survivors who were fast in the front. He's now also going to try to push Rochelle in the back. These survivors are still making their way in. Josie managing to get onto Rochelle there, but now we're going to be seeing some true W's go out right here. Not able to get that. Was that M2? Nick M2'd him with his ass. That was not even an M2. He literally M2'd him facing the opposite direction. This is actually going to be almost 500 points for Disabled here. They're salvaging this round, kinda, sorta. There's the wipe from Josie's tank. but the fact they managed to get that much distance helps them out because of how their SI's been playing. But Team Lost in the Sauce, if they can put together a really good Survivor round right here, they could take the lead.
Well, this is where they're going to have to change the entire pace of the game so far, because Disabled clearly, just didn't even bother with this one. They're just thinking, nah, you know what? We took some really nasty hits this round, but we can definitely wipe them with the Infected. I think that's the thought process going through most of their heads if it wasn't said out loud. And, it's up to Lost in the Sauce to, change that narrative and just be like, no, you can't just wipe us on command. We're going to make this safer.
Yeah,
so it's time to see if they can really do that.
Yeah, the story of this game so far really has not been Team Lost in the Sauce Survivor. It's been like how they're special infected. Or actually, I should say the story of this game hasn't been Team Disabled Survivor so far. It's been their special infected and Team Lost in the Sauce Survivor. Like this matchup that we're seeing right here is going to determine the game. The other half is literally Team Disabled taking like one hit per chapter so far. Usually the first one that gets them like a quarter of their health taken away, and then them making either safe rooms or distance, and then their special infected just being completely shut down on Team Lost in the Sauce Survivor. So if Lost in the Sauce Survivor can win this matchup here on this map and then make their way to the safe room, that's how they're going to win the game. Because like I said, they're doing enough on Disabled Survivor right now. We do have a charge going in the back right now onto a Boom Survivor. Is going to miss that. It is a double cap, however, with that jockey and that smoker. If that charge had been able to land on the Stir, that would have been devastating.
Yeah, it would have, but they luckily were saved. The, most damage potential was shut down. They did take Survivors about comparable damage to the first hit. The Disabled took maybe a little bit more, but they're going to move on through here and just a little bit of a Boomer Horde chasing after them. But they're not even going to bother clearing that. They're trying to hold W as fast as they can. We've got the next hit ready. Charger Boomer, Jockey Hunter. We're going to see if Disabled can put together some sort of like devastating tri-cap. Nice spawns, double boom going out. The Charger whips. Hunter lands on Rochelle, gets insta-cleared, and the Jockey lands onto Ellis, gets a stumble, but also gets pushed.
The boom is good here, but now they're going to make sure, I think, that they have spawns for that choke coming up. And the double boom is going to slow down Team Lost in the Sauce just a little bit, but depending on how they time this, they might be able to get at least a little bit through that choke. I don't know if they're going to decide to plus fart into it as well. Looks like Thug is thinking about it, but now they're going to calm maybe in the room because they know the spawns are up. Please?
No, they're going for it.
Okay, they're going? Yep, that's going to be a nice take of the choke, however. They managed to just get away with that. The Charger gets melted, Boomer gets popped, and that right there, we can see the difference between how Team Lost in the Sauce took that choke rather fast. They did it when they knew the spawn timers were just coming up, didn't really have time to position, whereas Disabled walked into that choke, and they were essentially dead by this point. Now this tank means a lot for Team Disabled.
Absolutely, and Lost in the Sauce doesn't even have to do some kind of ridiculous Goomba stomp like Nick did last round. They actually do have the health to just run for this tank, or if they want to take it all the way back here and fight it like a regular hard rain tank. We're gonna see what they choose to do. Hunter goes in, Charger whiffs. The Hunter does land on Rochelle, but gets cleared. Smoker gets a pull onto Coach, but also gets cleared. That Charger did get I think 2 punches out there, but not a ton of damage. All the survivors are still nice and healthy. They've got 4 pills left. We're going to see it's all down to this tank now. I think it's 30 losses tank.
Indeed, it's going to be. So the tank for Team Disabled is up into the hands of 30 loss, and he is going to have to do a good amount of work in an area where a lot of work doesn't usually get done. That was Sir getting caught for a second there, I think, on that rubble. Boomer does go in, does get popped. Nice pop going out by Sir there. And now the question is, how far back will Team Lost in the Sauce decide to go? I think they probably take their chances with this field, but this is a much different field than it usually is in Hard Rain. Actually, they're going to be running even further back, maybe to take him at the bricks. That's another place, yeah.
That would certainly be the area. I guess they just don't like that field. We're going to see, maybe they saw some extra pills back there, because I'm pretty sure Disabled found a set just before they got completely ruined at this ladder. Yeah, they're taking it out here on the bricks, although there is some spawns behind Nick and Rochelle that I don't think they're covering super well. This tank is trying to reposition. Wow, he's taking a long way around.
Oh yeah, he is. He's getting hittable, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, indeed he is. And now they're gonna be forced forward, and the tank knows this, I think. Now this jockey's gonna go in from the back. Tank is still on first pass. The survivors are being forced to transition right here. This could be really dangerous if they walk into this Charger. They're going to be going for it. Charger spawns up. It's going to get a couple punches, and there's the multi-charge going out in the back with a jockey bouncing around on that as well. Tank is right there, though. He can't really commit. He's on second pass, and survivors can actually run him forward at this point. This is some really, really tight gameplay right here from Lost in the Sauce. This tank is throwing. He can't climb this ladder, and now he's going to be running in, trying to keep the site. He's bot. This tank is 100. This tank is 100% bot.
That tank is as good as gone, and Lost in the Sauce are just trying to run this map as fast as they can, but Disabled still have their infected. They've got a Boomer, Jockey, Charger, maybe another multi-charge. The Charger's going to go for some sort of a rocket spawn, but at this point, things are looking really bad for Disabled. This is exactly what... No, they're fighting it? They're going to
no, they're going to fight it here, yeah. I mean, okay. So this tank has 5,000... This tank has 5,500 HP and a dream. And a huge dream. They're going to have a 3-cap for this. Maybe a 4-cap, actually, since they threw that Boomer. This tank is not going to die before that last spawn is up. So it's going to be 5-on-4. Jockey's going to go in there for Coach. Still bouncing around. Smoker pulls down. Charger lands as well. That Jockey's going to intercept, however, and that's going to be a lot of damage going out on to that Survivor who's in that corner. Thug Life is down from this Charger as well. Hunter going in for scratches on a tank commit. Rock's going to go in there, not going to land. Tank is now pushing in. Wow, that's a lot of damage going out, but obviously not the wipe. I think that Charger decided to take that intercept, again, seeing the Chargers taking the pulled targets on that ping. A lot more damage going out there from that AI situation, but this could be essentially a tie game as long as Team Lost in the Sauce don't completely throw this bonus. One boom does go out.
Maybe I just got super excited by the idea of an AI tank, but I wouldn't have bothered with this tank at all. I would have just run it, but, you know... that's a debate for another time. Regardless, Lost in the Sauce still has a decent amount of perm health. We do have Spit going onto nothing. Jockey gets shut down immediately. And the Spitter is still alive. Might look for a despawn. Yeah, he's going for it. But Lost in the Sauce has got to be feeling pretty good about this. They have, like, I mean, I think, what, maybe 3-4 more hits, and they've got this safe.
No, like 2. They have to go over this truck. Like, they take 1 hit here and 1 hit maybe at the safe.
Here. I keep forgetting about that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean... This could be devastating, however, if this does go in. Charger does find his way to land on the Thug, and it is a double cap in the back! No way! You've got to be kidding me! They're dead. The 2 in the back are dead. Oh my god. That Charger has 58 HP left. I can't even describe how important that was for Team Disabled. Like, that is the only thing that could have happened that would stop Lost in the Sauce there, because that was essentially the last hit, and Disabled are actually going to retain the lead thanks to that insane double cap. They had like 400 bonus prior to that.
What a heartbreaker. Oh my god.
This match is out of control.
I feel like I just gave the worst caster's curse ever. Here I am talking about how, oh, Lost in the Sauce can take this lead. Nope. Yikes.
They just die.
Yep.
And they just die.
Your teammates are sitting there next to the van just watching it happen. Just, yep, that's it. We gotta go.
That, I mean, again, that was another situation where it worked for them the last time earlier on that map when they took the last choke point when they ran out, but I think Disabled were set up on it where it's like, okay, they're not gonna bait, they're gonna push, you know, and if they knew they were gonna push like that, you got that smoker pull going out actually after the Charger landed. The Charger landed first, and Thug couldn't get the clear before he got. And that's just so... That is just so unfortunate. Team Lost in the Sauce. Like, they were due to make that map with, like, 500 bonus.
Here's some more bad news, however. We have an early tank, 23%. And I know from personal experience that tanks out here can be, like... It's just a circus, honestly, because you've got... What I'm trying to count. Is this white car here hittable?
I believe that it is not. Yeah, I mean, this area still sucks for the tank unless it's hittable, essentially, but it's definitely harder to, like, it's sorry, I'm getting some shout outs to the teams from that last round that we watched. But like, this is still something where the survivors have a really good chance of surviving this. It's a Hunter, Smoker, Hunter, and a Boomer for Team Lost in the Sauce on the Special Infected. They had the chance to intercept that momentum, but obviously now they are still playing from behind. 2 maps left to decide who moves on to the grand finals of RBT4. Team Disabled, I think, might slow down just a tad on the Survivor side. Indeed, they are baiting this out pretty well. Boomer does jump in, gets M2'd by Nick and shut down. Hunter comes in from the back, looking for a land. That Hunter does get killed. Another Hunter does land. Smoker gets a quick pull, but that is going to be it for that first hit. And that was actually the first time, I think, through 4 maps that Team Disabled haven't gotten smacked on a first hit out of the safe room.
Well, it is maybe the easiest hit to take in this entire campaign. I mean, that area is just as bad as regular hard rain. Regardless, Thug Life has his tank now. We're going to see it is hittable. Interesting.
It is.
The survivors are going to take this tank out on this roof. And like I've mentioned before, this area is kind of wonky because you'd think, oh, this isn't like a good area for a tank, but like I've seen some ridiculous wipes come out here. That first car, however, will not be participating in that because it landed in pretty bad spot. Although the tank does have a boomer, he can maybe get some sort of ridiculous boom. Oh,
that's a hit. Yeah, I mean, he's got a lot of hittables to play with here. He's still on first pass. We do have this hit coming out right now, but Disabled are pushing forward away from the original roof. That's going to be insane. So Rochelle is down below, and there's a hunter right there, and the car is going to miss Rochelle on the dumpster, but now she's down below and pinned. This boomer is walking the fuck in and landing. That's going to be a single boom coming out from the roof. This tank in the hands of Thug still has 5,000 HP. He wants his God car. He needs his hatchback, but he doesn't actually have his hatchback. Nick is on the ground, pushing him around a pole, shooting him with a shotgun from like 10 feet away. Tank throwing another rock at him, not going to land. Disabled rotating back to the roof here, but they're in decent position. Smoker is not going to land on a Nick. Nick is completely insane. Oh my god, he's gonna not land on the jockey does land on him, but the tank isn't in position. The commoner is still trickling in from the top. This car skips. It's not going to land. What am I watching? That hittable is going to land on a coach. Coach was just in the street trying to kill the tank, exactly like that, and he's gonna die because of that car. The survivors are right there, they're getting card. What the actual fuck are Disabled doing? I have no idea what I'm watching. That car is not going to land. That car is not. Tank is gonna now try to push Nick over here. He's the last one up. I have no idea what we're watching anymore. This charger is going to land in the corner. That's 2 kills from Thug Life's tank, and Thug is looking to completely reverse this now for team lost in the sauce. I swear to you, Holly, if they, and we have a lerp change. We have a lerp change coming in here. Actually, no, that was Owen coming back. That was Owen coming back. Tank goes back in, not going to land, but that does result in 2 survivors dead for Team Disabled in one of the most insane fights I think I've ever seen there. Now there's a jockey in spit, and Rochelle just dives in it, and at this point, they're still both going to be fast, but I just cannot, for the life of me, understand with 100 and whatever ping. Like, I don't care if you're on green ping, red ping, frickin' purple ping. You just don't run at a tank when it has a hittable like that. I don't understand.
I told you, Rails, this area is just weird, okay? You see weird tank fights, and it's not because the area allows for it. It's just like weird stuff happens here. I don't know what it is. Regardless, we do have a boomer spawning in from the back, but he's not going to be able to make that distance boom. But he's gonna,
he does.
Nick just jumps into it anyway. We now have a nice tongue cut, but that's the double cap landing. That's a wipe. Disabled may have just thrown their lead away for no goddamn reason.
That I cannot explain what the thought process was on Survive. Like, I understand Nick was just being ballsy as hell and he was about to get away with it, but then the rest of his team to fight the tank jumped in the street. Maybe Coach didn't think that one car was hittable that way, but, like, the hit that hit him was so slow because he was literally pushed up against a fence. Like, he had absolutely nowhere to juke that. There was no pole to break any kind of smoker tongue or car on. There was no kite path away. He was just in a corner with a hittable, and that's how that all unraveled. But now, I mean, Team Disabled have some work to do on SI side. Like, Lost in the Sauce at this point have every single right to make this map. And I mean, we still have Finale as well, and Team Disabled are holding on to this lead because of their SI play. It's been their SI play every round. And like I said, this was the matchup we were expecting, I guess, between Lost in the Sauce Survivor and Disabled's SI, but what the hell was that actual last half?
I couldn't tell you. That's something for the historians to decide later. We do have the boomer jumping into Rochelle's face. We've got the horde gonna take a few seconds to clear, but obviously the survivors are in no rush to get out there. They've got to know, hey, maybe don't push that tank. It's all about patience this round. You can't keep allowing Disabled to get ridiculous hits like they have been all campaign.
Kind of like that.
Yeah. Pull and Hunter lands onto Ellis, but they all get cleared. Nice take.
Exactly, yeah, that's a little bit better. I mean, and this tank for Disabled is going to have to do something with these hittable car plays for this wipe. And it's going to be up. I cannot read that name. That car is skipping right across it. Oh my god! They're picking him up. Josie's still down. Re-hit goes in and hits Coach! You've got to be kidding me! There is absolutely no way! Are you freaking serious, dude? Dude! That free card just nails Josie in the face and they're dead! Oh my god!
It's a bad area for tanks, he says.
Dude! Okay, it's a bad area for tanks if 2 players, 1 on each of the semifinalists, don't eat a free car. I'm actually speechless.
I don't know what. I don't even know what to tell you. That was actually ridiculous.
So it's a two. They gotta one up themselves now. It's a 200-point lead for Disabled. They are 1 map away from advancing to the grand finals of RBT. They've managed to extend their lead in a map where they ran into that's essentially what we're seeing. I mean, hey, I am a big believer in whatever is working. Like, if something's working, don't try to fix it. But I don't know if the fact that what they're doing is actually working, or if they have just finally figured out that Left 4 Dead 2 is an inherently broken game and are just demonstrating it to. I think that might be what we're seeing right now. They're just showing that it's not them who's fucked up, it's actually the game. So, last map here, Hard Rain Downpour. Team Disabled are defending a 200-point lead on this neutral server. I think we've lost all ability to understand what we're seeing. Just amazing SI play, we'll say that. We do have a smoker pull going out. Speaking of which, this is a 3 cap on the first hit on Disabled. Alright, so let's see. For those who are following along, right, we've managed to hit our usual pace here. Okay, so Disabled take like 200 damage on the first hit, check. That's 4 out of 5 maps. Now, what we need to have happen next is they're going to make some distance points or just make it to the tank, check. I think there's a good amount of that happening. And then the last check is them just getting some insane wipe on Special Infected, winning this game with their SI and advancing to the RBT4 Grand Finals. Because they have, this is, again, I would say that 3 cap was awesome and it's going to move momentum back. But I really can't tell you that, the way the game has gone so far. I mean, there's another chance for Lost in the Sauce here. Charger not going to land, Jockey manages to land, Hunter goes in for scratches onto Ellis right there. It's good damage, but Holly, I really don't think we're talking about a conventional game anymore. I really don't.
No, I mean, what you just listed off is the expected itinerary, but at this point it wouldn't surprise me if Disabled finds another ladder for them to rush stupidly and get killed on. But,
I mean, there are like 2 ladders on this map. Like, exactly. 2 of them are actually like right in a row. They could, but the thing is, it's working. Whatever they're doing is working. That's the thing, where we got to remember, they have a good amount of pills here. I think there's only 1 tank on this finale, and the fact that they made map 2 really, and the fact that death on map 3 happened to Lost in the Sauce has really been the difference so far. 3 cap with Boom coming in here right now. Hunter going in, Hunter Smoker going for the same target. Charger does manage to land onto Ellis. Does get cleared before it gets a pound. Smoker Pull does go out for a decent amount of damage on the Fantasy in the front. He does then get cleared as that 3 boom goes in, but again, just chip damage. And the question again, like, okay, we'll see what Disabled can set themselves up for on the Survivor side here, but then that SI round is going to be everything. And their tanks, I will say this, their tanks have been on point so far, except for that AI map 3.
Absolutely, and we're going to see the tank is in Sheep's hands, I believe. Team captain of Lost in the Sauce is going to be all down to him, I'm pretty sure, to wipe this team. We're going to see how Disabled chooses to handle this. Charger and Jockey go in. The Jockey does get a little bit of damage for a second. We've got a Hunter jumping around up on the roof of the Save for Less. And
what a rock!
Okay. Sheep gets a nice rock through the window of the store and almost lands another rock onto Nick. Now, looks like, where is Disabled taking this tank? Are they pushing the roof?
Pushing
him.
Oh
my God, why have you not learned your lesson, Disabled?
Disabled are pushing this tank with 200 ping. Another rock's gonna land onto Ellis. This is mad. I mean, they trade 2 tanks, or not 2 tanks, 2 tank rocks for the roof, which I guess is a decent trade, but this tank could honestly just commit. Perp trying to keep sight here. Hunter lands down below. There's a double cap. Jockey going for the cover, not gonna land, now does manage to land. Tank didn't get a rock off that, however, and he's now on the roof. Nick says, I'm gonna eat this rock here too, I want you off the roof. But, I mean, really, their entire point there was to get the high ground, which they do have. Are they pushing him in the... You've got to be kidding me. You've got to be absolutely kidding me. Disabled! Disabled, what are you doing?
They are relentless.
Get back on the roof. Get back on the roof. I'm calling for them now from caster chat. Get back on the roof. Okay, all right. The tank's actually not in a good spot right now, I'll say that, though. He's down to 4,300 HP behind this wall.
You
Jockey,
know,
Charger, Boomer.
In a good spot. There's a Charger here.
Yeah, I mean, anything could happen, but he's on second pass. He's gonna be forced in, and as long as the survivors can block these spawns, this is actually not half bad. Because of that insanity, he hasn't gotten any of his hittables set up. He's got to push them back in that direction. He's under 4K now. And he's still getting shipped on that ladder, too. I mean, they're trying to set up behind him, but Disabled now are doing a great job of shooting this tank. He's going to be in, and he's going to get focused by these Uzis. Nick does not hear this jockey, but now sees it, so he can clear his friend Ellis there. And this tank has nothing. Boomer's dead. Charger lands. Tank goes in, gets a rock onto Nick, but this is not going to be the wipe. That is a dead tank going out by Team Disabled. They ate a lot of damage for it, but they're alive, Holly, and that's really important.
This hurts.
Seems like the closer the gap between these teams gets, the more like fly by the seat of your pants Disabled wants to play. Every single time we're thinking, hey, you know, don't do that. Let's be reasonable. Play safe. And Disabled's just like, nope, we're going to rush in this tank's face and eat 3 rocks for the roof. But again, as you mentioned, it's working out for them. So I guess if it ain't broke.
Yeah, that was a great skeet right there as well. Plus that jockey got shut down. A little bit of a smoker pull. But if they make this, that's going to put Lost in the Sauce in a really, really tough spot. Because then they're going to have to play super duper clean on Survivor, and they haven't been able to do that this entire game so far. Right now, Disabled's looking like, as they down Nick here, that they will be able to make this boat and then make it a game of bonus, essentially, for Team Lost in the Sauce on the other side. Again, I mean, this has been a lower scoring game than I think we anticipated by far because of the amount of the amount of insanity that's gone out in the past 4.5 maps. But this hit's going to come in now. Smoker Pull is going to land. Charger gets absolutely melted. Now that is what we're kind of used to seeing from Team Disabled in a way. That Charger got just focused to death.
Absolutely, and now the Survivors are going to move on through back onto this roof that they loved so much, that they, you know, fought tooth and nail for. Going to take the rest of this. Looks like, oh, that's an interesting spot Rochelle took. I didn't know you could even land on that wall. But yeah, they're going to take one more hit. Maybe Lost in the Sauce can get one YOLO charge. They do have it. Sir's got the Charger. Are we going to see a death charge today?
I mean, we've got this Hunter below making noise. Charger spawns up top. Does not land, however. Gets a stumble onto Nick. And a couple of punches. Nick almost goes down there, trying to defend his friend Ellis here in the middle of that spit. Fantasy is near the top, but Rochelle still is carrying a great amount of bonus. 63 permanent HP, actually, for Rochelle. This spit is going to go in for some kind of delay, trying to hit it onto the boat, but that is Team Disabled making the finale, and that will be the story, honestly, Holly, if this is how this ends. The fact that they made map 2 and that they made map 5. Like, that will be what it comes down to. I mean, there were so many points, so many points for Lost in the Sauce to make this back up, and they can still do it on this finale. It's less than 1,000 points for the lead, but they're going to have to just reverse whatever it's been so far. Great finale, I'd say, in terms of this game relatively, like making it with bonuses big. 2,508 points total for Disabled, the #1 seed in RBT4, and they are now half a map away from advancing to the grand finals of the tournament. Lost in the Sauce need to play their best here. What? You're lost? Okay, Vanilla lost. She's underground. Respec. We're good. Okay, camera is back. Good lord. But Holly, this has been a hell of a game so far, and Disabled are about to bring it home. They have a chance to, unless Lost in the Sauce are able to fight through this now.
The first hit is ready. Jockey, Charger, Smoker, Boomer. Looks like Boomer's going to try and spawn to the left of the Survivors behind the tree. Jockey and Charger are going to spawn from the other side. The Jockey's pre-spawn. The Boomer jumps in, but gets popped immediately. Didn't quite get the distance he wanted. Jockey gets chipped a little bit. The Charger goes in, actually manages to land onto Coach, but gets insta-cleared. The Smoker's trying to get a pull, but it gets cleared also immediately. That's a nice take by Team Lost in the Sauce. And who is this tank? I didn't even see. Yeah, that person.
Right. I mean, and this is the thing where, like, it's going to be really, really important for Team Lost in the Sauce to take this tank in the place they want and to play that place cleanly. Because we saw Disabled eat 3 rocks trying to get control of that roof. And once they got the roof control, Perp wasn't really able to do a whole lot with his hittables, right? So the question is, do you want to play roof and risk the hittables? Do you play inside? I think the roof is the right call for this, as long as Lost in the Sauce are prepared for it, but there's so many things that we've seen that can go wrong in terms of those hittables, in terms of spawns from below, in terms of everything. So we have this next hit from Disabled coming in. That single boom already landed. That's going to be a pull charge. Going out onto Rochelle is not going to land, however, and those are the kind of clears that we're going to need to see from Lost in the Sauce going forward here. And this is a good start for them. They've only taken about 30 damage as this Jockey goes in, gets an M2 or 2, but is not going to land.
These are some nice takes by Team Lost in the Sauce, but I think you're absolutely right. If they want to make this, you know, boat, then they need to, like, absolutely obliterate this tank. And I think I think your assessment is right. I think you want to take this roof no matter what it costs you, because after maps like 1 and 4, you don't want to give the disabled tanks any cards to work with, because we've clearly seen that Lost in the Sauce does not know how to handle
Oh, this charge! Not going to land, trying to catch the survivors off guard because they've looked at the smoker spawn. Not able to get much of anything, but this is the kind of clean take that we need so far from Team Lost in the Sauce. And I mean, and this map isn't worth a massive amount. I think it's 500 distance, and I mean, that's a little bit more than the regular hard rain, but I think it's worth because of the way that they have to take a couple more hits and due to the fact they're fighting this in a different spot. Tank is going to spawn in the back, and this is for all the marbles in this game. It really, really is. Tank is up for Team Disabled. Rock's going to be going in, not going to land. Now the question is, what are Lost in the Sauce going to do? Who's going to dictate the fight? Do the SI want to try to push them off? Do they want to push the tank? You know, and right now they're all just kind of hanging in the front there, and they're going to get boomed. That's a single boom going out, and this tank is moving in. He's going to go for that hatchback, it looks like. He's on the side of the roof. Car is going to be coming up! Not landing, though. Other car flopping around, and the tank is going for roof control now. Going for Josie on the right-hand side. Josie trying to get away from him, and he gets punched into a tree! Okay. Oh my god! What am I looking at? If he gets up there, is he dead? There's no way. There's absolutely no way. He's in a tree with like 100, just keep looking for the tank, not to get a corner on him, and this tank is down to 1900 HP, climbing back in, support's gonna look to go, tank whiffing a punch, he's down to 500 health, and Coach meditated in the air, he levitated in the air, and he couldn't be hit.
Okay.
They have 1,000 bonus.
Did they just win?
Dude, everything about this game, Josie got hit off the roof and he got hit into a tree. He tried to punch Thug Life and Thug jumped back and like went in the air to dodge that. The only thing that kills them is if they eat some insane hit at this point. Jockey's going in, trying to get this cover on the smoke survivor who is going to get hurt, but right now this is Lost in the Sauce game. They have like 2 more hits to take. That shutdown on that tank was so important. The tank went for things. He went for that hittable. He went for a couple other things, and this could actually be Lost in the Sauce, pulling it all the way back here despite everything that's happened, but they still have a couple really dangerous hits to take. They gotta just be in control on the survivor side. The tank is dead. Holly, this is incredible.
This is insane. If Lost in the Sauce actually wins, I think I will lose my mind, but the next hit is ready. Boomer, Charger, Spitter, Smoker. The Boomer gets popped immediately, Charger whiffs again, nothing is landing. All of that amazing infected play we saw from Disabled, it is nowhere to be found right now. These hits, you know, post-tank and pre-tank actually, just nothing is landing.
And the boat is indeed here. This is to decide who goes to these grand finals, and they gotta make a move. There is a 3-cap with a Boomer up as well, so Charger, Smoker, and a Jockey. And the only thing that Team Lost in the Sauce, I am so hyped for this, the only thing that Team Lost in the Sauce needs to avoid right here is whatever happened map 1, or map 2, or map 3, or map 4, and they've avoided the entire thing because they just killed that hit. The Boomer's dead, the Charger's dead, Smoker's dead, and this is Team Lost in the Sauce making the comeback in the RBT4 semifinals. They are going to defeat the #1 seed, Team Disabled, in a gritty game, but one of the best comebacks I have seen. That is it. Team Lost in the Sauce advanced to the grand finals of RBT4. What a game.
Absolutely incredible. I cannot believe what I just witnessed.
Wow.
This entire time, I've been like praising Disabled, you know, up until like that one ladder choke, but oh my god, the #1 seed just got... Are they out?
They're out. That's it.
They're out. It's
That's
a
single elimination.
Lord.
Single elimination semifinals. It's always been that way in RBT. Yeah.
That is crazy. I am so glad I woke up in time for this match.
Dude, that was absolutely incredible. And what an ability for Team Lost in the Sauce to bring it back after having all those things happen to them earlier in the game. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, absolutely.
There were just so many ways that could have gone so bad, but that finale and that tree that Josie got hit in. To be fair, though, okay, if he doesn't get in the tree, I don't think that's enough to sway the outcome of that, because the tank had his cars, like, almost nowhere near it. It might have been in cap, might have not just been a hit in the water, but Disabled their survivor play just wasn't, I don't think, on one games just wasn't prepared for a grand finals matchup or even a semifinals matchup, as we just saw, because there are just way too many ways like when you play that kind of game, you're really, really, really putting a lot of pressure on your SI play, and in an area where the tank just doesn't get a massive amount, like that should have happened map 3. Like they should have been behind on map 3 had that one massive throw just not happened, where 2 people on Lost in the Sauce died at the one choke point. You know what I mean? And
Absolutely.
they had like one chance with that tank, and then maybe one other hit to do it, and you can't just rely on that one play every time in a one game. You just can't.
And Disabled, I think they really just lost sight of, what had been winning them those games so far, because yes, their infected play was top notch and they were doing massive amounts of damage, but their survivor play was still like, above average, you could say. They weren't just throwing and just mindlessly pressing W and like taking these chokes in like just like the worst way possible, and I think by the time that they like felt like they were really pulling ahead, Disabled just decided, screw it, like just go, and who cares what happens. And that's really kind of what did them in, on top of the fact that on map 5, Lost in the Sauce just played so smart. They took all of those hits in a different area, instead of the save for less, they took it right out in front of the Burger Tank sign, and just nothing hit them there. Absolutely nothing landed.
Absolutely incredible. Absolutely just incredible. But yeah, that's the number 1 seed in RBT4 going down to the number 4 seed, Lost in the Sauce. And so now we have a couple of games to be played before their opponent reaches them. We have the rematch between Team Keyboard Warriors and Team Sorry For, which is due to happen either Tuesday or Wednesday of this week, depending. And then we'll have a very quick second semifinals game being played where the winner of Keyboard Warriors and Sorry For in that rematch plays against Team IBP for the right to play against Team Lost in the Sauce in the grand finals of the tournament. That is how this is looking. So the actual grand finals will not be next weekend. It'll be the weekend after that, and we'll have a couple of games, quarterfinals, semis, and then grands again to get that bracket match back up after the replay that was necessary. But wow, that single match, and congrats to Lost in the Sauce for hanging in there and making their way now to the grand finals and defeating the number 1 seed. It was not pretty, I do believe, is the general consensus. I messaged Perp and was like, congrats. He's like, that was a disaster. And I'm like, well, I mean, sometimes. But thank you so much for helping me cast this. Thank you to Vanille for streaming, especially at this hour. And we will have more information on these upcoming matches. We got 2 more matches to play before the grand finals from the other side of the bracket. So we'll be caught up, though, relatively soon. We're going to have a lot of good Left 4 Dead 2 brought your way. Holly, any last words on that match that we just saw?
I mean, I think congratulations are in order for both teams. There were some pretty ridiculous plays in there, but there were also some pretty great plays. And, going out at this stage in the tournament is no small feat for Disabled. So they obviously did not get as far as they thought, but they still have a lot to be proud of. They still played. I mean, some of those infected plays were just absolutely ridiculous. And Lost in the Sauce has got to feel good about themselves. I mean, you can say it was a disaster, but at the end of the game, that's just the nature of Left 4 Dead. Like sometimes you just get these like just absolutely insane hittables and, survivors flying into trees, and just, you just kind of have to roll with the punches with this game.
And with that being said, we are going to sign it off right here. Thank you to the teams. Thank you to the server hosters, for Sir, obviously, for hosting the servers as well, and for the work that he does at Sir Please, and everybody who's donated to the tournament so far. And like I said, more information on the next couple maps will be due in the next couple days. Next couple games, I should say, will be due in the next couple days. For those who don't know, the Grand Finals map will be regular Dark Carnival. But like I said, we have a Swamp Fever match, another Hard Rain Downpour match to play before we get to that point. And congrats on Team Lost in the Sauce for being one of our 2 Grand Final 4. Thank you guys for watching, and have a great rest of your day.